Good morning, everybody. Thursday, March 19th. What? Are we already 3 months into the new year? What the F is going on here? Almost no Laker games left. This is it. We're basically at the end here. I appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Good morning. Hopefully everybody's having a nice start to their Thursday. Cheers to you guys. Coffee number 2. I got to be honest. I need the coffee this morning. Yeah, let's not BS each other. We're going to be honest with each other. Let's be honest with each other. All right, we got a busy, fun show again today. Lakers playing the best basketball I've seen the Lakers play in a couple of years, if I'm being honest with you. So we're going to continue to kind of break down some of this momentum for the Lakers. Basically have locked up every tiebreaker you could possibly lock up. Another impressive win last night against the Houston Rockets, and another game coming up today against the Miami Heat. Man, they are cramming in these games. They are packing in these games. 19 games over 500. No guests today, so we'll be hanging out for an hour or so. Let me give everyone a quick idea of what we got going on for the show. And then we'll take a look at some of the comments and we'll get things started. All right, 7 straight wins for the Lakers. We'll go back to last night's win against the Houston Rockets. I said this in the postgame show last night. I do think last night was the biggest win for the Lakers of the season, and we said that a lot over these last couple of weeks. So, we'll continue to obviously give our thoughts about it. Got a clip from JJ Redick that I want to play talking about the 7-game win streak, everybody embracing their role, basically how the Lakers have been able to do what they've done. How about Luka Doncic? I mean, you just kind of sit back sometimes and say to yourself, how the hell do Lakers have Luka? Some of this dude's stats over these stretch of games, oh my gosh. Everything is basically a triple-double. He's got some 30s, some 40s, some 50s. We'll talk about Luka's dominance. I think I've told you guys this a couple of different times. I do have somebody that's producing the show that's in the background. His name is Eric. Eric's going to come on the show in a little bit and apparently make a case about Luka's defense. Now I think all of a sudden people are starting to talk about, Luka's defense not that bad. I'm like, look, you want to get into that, you can get into it. You could sell that timeshare. So we'll do that here in a little bit. LeBron last night, I know I don't have to tell people, but just how brilliant his game was. And LeBron kind of embracing that new role. We'll spend a little bit of time on LeBron James. I think that's a time to do it. That third option definitely working. Look at some of his usage. Look at what he's done over the last 8 games or so. It's been pretty incredible to see what he's doing. By the way, LeBron's also 2 games away from passing Robert Parrish for most games in NBA history. So we could talk about that. KD had something to say about LeBron as well, giving him some flowers. Last night was so significant because the Lakers now have the tiebreaker over basically all these teams in front of them or behind them now in the Western Conference that are significant. They don't have the tiebreaker over the Suns. That doesn't matter. And there's some clips here from a few different people that I want to play. James Worthy talking about championship caliber basketball. Danny Green was on Get Up comparing the Lakers 2020 championship team to 2026, not because of their defense, but because of their offense. Chris Broussard a couple days ago was talking about how he wants to see the Lakers and the Spurs in a playoff series. Now, all of a sudden, the conversation around the Lakers is changing a little bit. And what I mean by that is the conversation's not just about getting to the playoffs and, can they be competitive in the first round? Some of the conversation's starting to change around the Lakers, whether that's premature or it's not. But when you've won 9 of 10, 7 games in a row, naturally the conversation does start changing. So we'll talk about can the Lakers hang with the San Antonio Spurs or an Oklahoma City Thunder? Can they? I mean, that's just – I think that's just a natural conversation based off of everything that we've been talking about. And then the Lakers still got a game tonight. So second night of a back-to-back. I think the Lakers landed at 4 a.m. this morning in Miami. So the Lakers will have some work to do against Miami. And we'll see who plays. Does LeBron go in this one? Does he not? Lakers able to go 8 in a row. we'll see what the Lakers are able to do against the Miami Heat, but they do have a game coming up tonight. A couple stories around the NBA, some unfortunate news around Kate Cunningham diagnosed with a collapsed lung and will be out an extended period of time. Lakers do have the Pistons in this road trip, but I don't want to play the Pistons without Kate Cunningham. I want to see one of the elite players in the NBA, one of the young superstars in the NBA. So we'll get into that as well. And a couple other stories around the NBA we'll call it a day. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it. A couple quick reminders here for everybody. Please subscribe to the channel. We know that. Everybody knows that. Turn that notification bell on so that anytime I go live or I post a video, you guys get a heads up on it. And then if you like what you got here and you think some other people would enjoy it, please share it with others. Would appreciate that as well. All right, let's take a look here at some of these comments here. Morning, my people. Good morning. Morning. Yeah, kind of have a similar intro here. Let's go Lakers. Lakers are rolling. If Ayton can continue to buy in, we're winning it all. It's a lot different of a conversation than 2 weeks ago. The Don for Luka. Let's see what else we have here. Luka is perfect for the Lakers. We'll talk about it. It's actually an interesting one. Luka perfect for the Lakers. Man, I'm not kidding when I say this. I need a full conspiracy theory on how Luka's a Laker. There are certain times during the season where I'm like, yeah, this shit doesn't make any sense. So somebody just break it down for me because I don't understand this. None of this makes any sense. I just need a hour-and-a-half documentary on PBS that says this is how Luka became a Laker. And then I need Adam Silver to come around and say, guys, sometimes we have to make decisions for our business, and we thought it's better for our business if Luka's a Laker. And then I'll fully understand it. Until that happens, I don't know what to tell you. Kate Cunningham out indefinitely. Yeah. And Lakers got them coming up on Monday. And like I said, that's an unfortunate one. Obviously I don't want to see that. And what Detroit's been able to do, you want to kind of see the best version of the Pistons by the time you face them on Monday. That's not going to be the case. Now, all of a sudden, that kind of opens the door up for the Lakers as well. But, yeah, he's going to be out for a significant amount of time. Let's get the show started. All right. 7 straight W's for the Lakers. I did not predict yesterday's game at all. I genuinely thought the Lakers were going to have a difficult time against the Rockets yesterday. Lakers kind of showed something to me. They've shown, obviously, something to everybody over these last couple of weeks. It's been wildly impressive what they've been able to do, what they've been able to accomplish. But I thought yesterday it was next level. I thought it was next level because sometimes you could tell when a team, they're ready to go. I think the Houston Rockets have one of the best records off a loss in the NBA. Ryan Hollins was on the show yesterday, does Rockets TV, and was explaining that. Houston's been kind of hovering around 500 for a while, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But what they typically don't do is lose 2 in a row. Rockets are going to be desperate. They understand how big of a game that was. They understand that if they got the Lakers in the first round, the difference could be home court advantage. That could be the difference of them winning, them losing. We know that the Lakers, last time they played the Rockets was on Christmas before this Monday and Wednesday set, and the Rockets just absolutely bounced the Lakers. And if you want to say, well, Lakers beat them on Monday, well, that's because Şengün wasn't there. Okay, there's no excuse for yesterday. And I do think the Rockets were throwing their best punch at the Lakers. I thought everything you could possibly imagine coming from the Houston Rockets was going to come yesterday. And the Lakers took every single blow from Houston, and it didn't seem to faze them, and it didn't seem to bother them. And it actually it almost felt like the Lakers looked as good as they ever had based off of the circumstance and based off of we know we're going to get their best punch. Lakers were just incredible yesterday. I'm looking at some of these stats from the game, and yes, it's 7 wins in a row. Yes, they get the tiebreaker over the Rockets. Yes, Luka dropped 49 and 10. Yes, LeBron 30 and 5. Yes, by the way, shot 13 of 14. But there's so many other things that I think come to play for the Lakers. that are so impressive. They're now 29-2 when heading into the second half, when leading at the second half, when leading at halftime. So obviously going into the second half, they're 20-6 now in clutch time games. I mean, there's so many things that I could kind of take away from last night's game that were so impressive. But for me, the biggest thing was you got Houston's best punch. Şengün comes back. They know how important it is. You already lost to them, and you handed them another L. Just doesn't get any more impressive than that. I want to play a clip here for everybody. JJ Redick yesterday postgame was talking about the 7-game winning streak, why everything is working the way it is. And I think most NBA fans and most Laker fans would understand this. When a team is winning, it is kumbaya. Everything is working perfectly. Nobody's going to question anything JJ says or question what the players are doing or any of that stuff. But the most important thing, and I think you could definitely see this as the Lakers have kind of figured this out here. The most important thing for the Lakers is they're clicking at the right time and they're beating good teams. So here's JJ Redick on the 7-game winning streak and why the Lakers are having as much success.
There's a lot of things that are really good right now. Again, I talked about it before the game, just high level of people embracing the roles that the team needs. I think our guys are doing a fantastic job of making in-game adjustments as we toggle through different defenses, different things that we want to exploit on the offensive end. From where we were earlier in the season on both those things, just being able to execute in game and then embracing, the roles that the team needs. I think it's just at a much higher level right now.
There's always, when games end and we naturally just want to kind of start talking about the players, what player did well, what player struggled, why this guy do this, why that guy do that. And I think something that's always typically lost, which is fine. It kind of comes with the territory. I'll do my best to try to hit on the angles that make sense. But JJ Redick also deserves a lot of credit of what's happening with the Lakers. I do think the Lakers are throwing out, kind of trying to confuse different defenses out there. I think, again, they did a pretty good job on Kevin Durant last night. The defense is all over the place, and they are doubling him, and they are blitzing him, and they are kind of finding different ways from a defensive perspective to have some of the success that they're having. But JJ deserves a lot of credit, and I think a lot of times the coach doesn't typically get credit, but I'll give JJ credit. And I think a lot of people are waiting for the playoffs to either really give JJ credit, his flowers, or they're waiting to remind everybody that, you know what, JJ Redick is not the guy, whatever the case is. I think a lot of that's going to be determined in the postseason, but so many different ways to look at the Lakers right now in the 7-game winning streak. And yes, we're going to highlight brilliant play from Luka and how great LeBron was yesterday. But I think if you take a quick step back here and look at what they've been able to accomplish over this 7-game winning streak. Let me go by game here. I just want to look at this real quick because I'm going to keep going back to this. 2 weeks ago, if I'd have told you that the Lakers, what do you make of the Los Angeles Lakers? What do you make of where they are? What do you make of, their positioning in the Western Conference in the playoffs? It's not going to be that many positive conversations. And here they are now. Look at this 7-game winning streak. By the way, we could even go back. They blew out the Warriors. They blew out the Kings. They handled the Pelicans. They lost 1 game against the Denver Nuggets. That's the road game they played against Denver and hung with them at the end. They just started off really bad. They're down, I think, 15-3 early on. Then they beat the Pacers, the Knicks, the Timberwolves, the Bulls, the Nuggets, the Rockets, and the Rockets. It's just an unbelievable stretch for the Lakers. And let's give JJ some credit as well because I think he's done a really good job, and he's not going to get the credit for it. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation. This is natural with your head coach. A lot of people want to wait on giving JJ credit until you make some noise in the playoffs. I'm okay with that, but I'm also okay on March 19th to continue to give JJ Redick a lot of credit for what he's done so far in the regular season. They're 19 games over 500. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the comments. and then we'll keep rolling here. Let's go from there. Goalpost keeps moving, keeps getting moved for Luka's MVP. Okay. Yeah, I'll just say this on the Luka MVP stuff. The guy's a top, at the worst, 5 player in the NBA, probably closer to top 3 in the league. And whether he's really in that MVP conversation or not, I know a lot of people would like to see more of it. We'll see what happens. I think it's fair to have Shea in there. I think it's fair, of course, to have Wemby in there. I think it's fair, of course, to have Jokic in there. I think it's fair, of course, to have Luka in there. And unfortunately, Cade Cunningham is going to lose a little bit of that conversation because I don't think he's going to meet. I don't know how many games he's going to miss, but he might miss that 65-game threshold. By the way, Jaylen Brown should be in that conversation as well. So there's every team that I just mentioned is also having a really good season, a really good regular season, maybe not Jokic with the Nuggets. So a lot of guys obviously could be in that conversation, and whether Luka's second or third or wherever they put him, I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to the MVP conversation. He's a killer. He's unbelievable, and somehow he's a Los Angeles Laker. So haters are saying that Houston lost because the courtside fan was a plant to fire up Luka. Hey, I've said this before. Who are the people that I've mentioned now? I'm forgetting his name, the dude from Chicago that was talking to Luka. You got Chris Dunn that was talking from the Clippers, that was talking to Luka Doncic as well. He was talking crap. Let me just say this to every opposing team out there. It's not a good idea to run your mouth to Luka. If you're sitting courtside and you want to beat Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers, honestly, you should just compliment him. Find ways to compliment him. Just say, Luka, your hair, honestly, I've watched you play a lot of games. I've never seen your hair look as good as it does right now. It looks phenomenal. Luka, those shoes, phenomenal shoes, Luka. I mean, find ways to compliment the man. Because you know what certain people try to do? And some of these great players, and it's not just a Luka thing. Kobe used to do it. Jordan used to do it. I'm just naming players off the top of my head. They try to find reasons to kill, because they kind of take their game to another level. Sometimes Luka will look at a referee, and a referee has misses a call or doesn't make a call, and Luka will come back the other end, hit a 3, and look over towards the referee like, yeah, that's what you get. It's like, guy, he's just the referee, man. Relax. Boy, just calm down here. I don't think he's a plant, but if the Lakers are going to start putting plants out there, maybe that's one way to do it. Let's get another one here. Held KD to 4 points in 4 quarters over 2 games. Second half last game, first half last night, clutch. Yeah, and you know who's got a lot to do that as well? It's I give Marcus Smart a ton of credit. Guys, do me a favor. When Lakers play Miami tonight, we'll see what happens. We'll see who plays. Can you just take a couple of possessions and just watch Marcus Smart? I'm telling you, just watch Marcus Smart. It's worth watching Marcus Smart. The guy is phenomenal. Lakers are turning the effing quarter. Wish the crew wasn't so injured all year. That way they could have meshed faster. It's okay. I mean, I still think, you know, in a weird way, I just hope the Lakers aren't peaking 1 month too early, because we're about a month away from the playoffs starting. I think literally the playoffs start 1 month from now. That's the only, you know, you could say concern, but I'm not too worried about them being injured earlier. The most important thing is, are you healthy at the right time? So I think the Lakers are obviously trying to position themselves for that. All right, let's talk Luka here for a second. Let's talk Luka. Luka's dominance here real quick. Let me throw some stats out to everybody. Here's Luka's last 7 games for the Lakers. I just want you guys to see how absurd this is. So the 7-game win streak for the Lakers coincides with as good a basketball as you're going to watch one individual player. Here's Luka's stats, okay? 44 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 block shots against the Pacers. 35, 8, and 4 against the Knicks. 31, 11, and 11 against the Timberwolves. 51, 10, and 9 with 3 steals and a block against the Bulls. 30, 11, and 13 with 3 blocks against the Nuggets. 36-6-4 with 2 blocks against the Rockets. And then last night, 49-10 against the Rockets again. Luka Doncic in his last 7 games on this 7-game winning streak for the Lakers. 38 points a game, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, shooting 48% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. Just an absolute killer. Like, I don't know how else to describe Luka Doncic, but he's got that, hey, if I take a 3 right now, number one, you got to have the you-know-what to take this 3. But if I take this 3 right now, I'm basically going for the kill. This is a kill shot. If I hit this shot, that's the thing with Luka that I think for me, which isn't a shock, because if you watch Luka when he was in Dallas, he had kill moments in the playoffs. There's something about, hey, I got a chance to just completely suffocate the other team. I got a chance to discourage the other team. Did you watch the body language of the Houston Rockets last night when Luka hit certain shots? It was like their shoulders just shrugged, like, damn, everything we just did. We came back, we took the lead, did this, did that, and then Luka just comes in and just shuts everybody up. Luka's been dominant on offense. And some of his defensive stats here, which I'll have Eric come on here in a second to make a pitch and a case that Luka's actually a better defender than he's given credit for, at least over this stretch. But what he's been able to do over this 7-game span, I'm going to read a couple of these stats off here that we have here on what Luka's been able to do. Luka has 12 40-point games in the NBA this year, most in the league. Luka's first player in NBA history to have a 7-game span with 250-plus points, 50-plus rebounds, 50-plus assists, 25-plus threes made, and an undefeated record. So obviously Lakers went 7-0 in that span. I don't know what to tell you here. I really don't know what to tell you. But this span that Luka's on is as good as, a span that you're going to be able to watch. I mean, there's been stretches. Don't get me wrong. What did Kobe have? There was a stretch. Kobe was like every game was a 40-point night. But Luka, it's to me, it's beating these really good teams, playoff teams in the NBA. That's the most important thing. It's winning 7 games in a row, and then it's obviously putting up these unbelievable stats. Luka last night was on SportsCenter. He was on with Scott Van Pelt. Let me play this. I want to play this clip. It's not a long clip or anything like that, but I think, getting a little bit of a mindset of where Luka's at, not just what he's doing, but what the Lakers are doing. Take a quick listen here. Again, this is with Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter. Here's Luka.
I think the West, you have amazing teams, like you say. Obviously, Thunder is at the top, but then you have so many more teams that surprise you. But we always believe, like I say, if you don't believe, you shouldn't be here. So we always believe in ourselves. We're gonna go play every game like it's our last.
All right, that's Luka. Dude's a killer. Don't tell Luka Doncic that the Lakers don't have a chance in the playoffs. Don't tell Luka Doncic that, they're the best they could do is win in the first round and then they're done. Don't tell Luka anything. And when you got a player like that, you can win any game. That's the truth about it. You can win any game. Now, the challenge is going to be obviously winning 4 games. The question's not going to be, can Luka put up stats? Everybody knows Luka can put up stats. The question's going to be, how are all the other players doing? So there's a lot that comes into play here than just one individual playing and performing. But Luka's been just brilliant. He's been awesome. And I want a thorough investigation of how he's a Laker. I just need a 4-part series, 2 hours on PBS, and I want, I want Adam Silver to be heavily involved with this. I just want to know how they ended up getting him. That's all I want to figure out. That's it. That's all I want to know. I just need an 8-hour special that's going to air in prime time and in the offseason when the Lakers season is over, so we could still figure out how Luka's a Los Angeles Laker. It's funny, man. I'm telling you, and I guarantee there's a lot of people that watch my show or are big NBA fans, whatever the case is. There's got to be times that you're sitting back and you're saying to yourself, wait, how's he a Laker? All right, let's I want to bring on so let me give everyone just a quick background here. So about, let's call it a month and a half ago, I did hire a producer, and I've mentioned his name a couple different times before. He did a preview video, a couple preview videos with Sammy as well, getting the Lakers ready for a couple different matchups. So let me bring Eric on here for a quick second. Him and I were talking. We were talking before the show, and Eric's got all this defensive stats about Luka, and I'm like, Eric, listen, if you want to make the pitch here, and you want to all of a sudden pitch this timeshare about Luka being better than Gary Payton on defense, you can go ahead and do so. So first off, Eric, it's the first time you've been on when we do a show live, so you've clearly been on in the background. I make the case here. Give us a little bit of give me some stats here to tell me that Luka is as good of a defensive player as anybody the league has ever seen. Let's see what you have here.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far and say he's as good a defender as Gary Payton or any defender we've seen in the NBA.
But he's playing D. But he's playing D, and we talked about this kind of the 7-game span. A lot of the stats I was throwing out there. There's 3 steal games, 2 steal games. He's got a game with 3 blocks. Is his defense actually getting better? Do you see that at least from a team perspective, it is more effective?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the month of March, he's got 19 steals. In the 7-game span, he's averaging 2 steals per game, 1 block per game. Kelly Iko from Yahoo Sports had an article that came out yesterday kind of highlighting all of the defensive improvements that Luka has made this year. He's top 10 in steals, top 7 in charges drawn, which Marcus is second in the league. Austin is in the top 5 as well. Luka being in the top 10, it's like if you have your star player willing to sacrifice and take a charge, that says a lot, just not only about the player himself.
Could he just be so slow that he can't get out of the way and it equates into a charge? Because however you get there, I think that's very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm glad you actually brought up him being slow.
But first off, let me say this. That's shocking. I didn't know the top 10 in steals. Definitely did not know the top 7 in charges drawn. That's interesting. Okay.
So you brought up, is he slow and maybe it's just going to count as a charge? Actually, I think he's not slow. He's actually recovered from his injury. He's dealt with multiple lower leg injuries in Dallas as well. He's finally healthy. In Kelly Iko's article, he said that this season, in 109 isolation possessions where Luka's just defending a player in isolation, Luka's giving up less than a point. It's 0.84 points per possession. And that is a hairline below Amen Thompson and a better mark than Jaden McDaniels and OG Anunoby, who are regarded as 2 of the very best wing defenders, point of attack defenders, isolation defenders in the league. And so I've been impressed with Luka's defense because he's actually playing it. And I think him actually finally being healthy has contributed to that. And it's amazing to see what a player with healthy legs can do on defense. And it's like people see him huffing and puffing lately in games sometimes, but
not since his 15th technical foul. He's like a different player since he got the greatest thing to ever happen to Luka is getting 15 technical fouls in like mid-March, and now he's got to play a month of basketball with 15 technical fouls.
Yeah, that's definitely helped as well. But it's just, I think with the weight he lost in the offseason, obviously he's put a little bit back on during the season. That's going to happen. But he's huffing and puffing, not because he's overweight or anything like that. He's actually putting effort in on the defensive end. And
well, I would say this. I would say, and by the way, those are all good numbers. And when you put all that stuff in front of me, I'm like, I can't. This is like it's like it's a foreign language to me. I'm not going to be able to break all this down. So I appreciate you breaking it down that way. I will say this: Luke is never going to be known for an individual defender, obviously, but the squad. Anytime you have a hole on your defense, it can kind of break everything down. So he has to at least hold his own. And again, nobody's asking him to be, like you said, Amen Thompson or OG Anunoby or some of these other Jaden McDaniels, some of these other players that are truly great defenders. And hopefully the Lakers can add players like that throughout the season or in the offseason. But those caliber of players, not those players individually.
Yeah.
You got to play defense as a whole. I know there's a piece here JJ said, on Luka. He's been more active with the rotations, being physical with our switching groups. With him, it's to be solid, engaged, do our rules, and he's smart and can execute that at a high level. So, I obviously we're going to know Luka Doncic for what he does offensively, not what he does defensively. But I think those stats are interesting because I think it tells a little bit of a different narrative. And yeah, when I need you to sell Luka's defense again, we'll bring you back on, and we'll go from there. All right, buddy. Thank you, man. It's good stuff right there. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the comments. I've yet to kind of read some of the comments and see what other people think. But again, I'm not the guy. I don't want to be the guy to try to break down every stat for you there in regards to Luka's defense. But I think the point that we're trying to make here and why some of those articles are being written is defensively for the Lakers, they are better as a team. And the only way that you could be better as a team is that individuals do their job. And if we need Ayton to do his job, and we need, Jake LaRavia to step in when he needs to, and Rui's playing a role, and LeBron obviously playing a role. If you need all of that on the defensive side, you also got to have guys that play a role. And clearly, at least at the moment, everybody's playing a role, and Luka's playing a role as well on the defensive side. All right, that's good stuff right there. And still got obviously a lot of things that we're going to get into topics-wise. I want to read comments, and I want to kind of have that be the next portion of the show. Before I do so, let's give a shout-out to one of our partners here. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. I'll continue to emphasize this. I hope you guys never need an injury attorney. If you do, you got the best in the business, and you're one URL away from connecting with them, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you're in the state of California, you need an injury attorney. You, a family member or friend, is dealing with a serious injury or wrongful death case. You need guidance of just, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. It's daunting. It's intimidating. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you just go to that website, absolutely free consultation. It's a phenomenal way to have somebody in the business who is a professional guide you and support you along the way. We've had people reach out to him, and even if Brad Wallace is not able to help you, he will connect you with the right person. So you could trust in him. Obviously, he's been a great partner of this channel and of this show, was part of the partnership last season, part of the partnership this year. I've known him from my days when I was on radio, where he supported me on radio as well. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. All right. Thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Let's see what people are saying here. Luka playing defense and being in shape because he doesn't want to be traded again. Lock down Luka. All right, now we're taking this a little too far. Let Luka lose 84-point game. Luka is taking your soul on the court. Man, this one is there's so much truth to this one. Guys, any sport, any competitive game that you watch, anything competitively, there's certain players that are looking for your soul. They are looking for your soul. Luka's one of those guys. When he gets a chance to completely end a game, or if there's some momentum going the other way and he could kill that momentum, that's what players like Luka do. Let's get another one here. Lakers Luka, Mavs Luka. No, not yet. Listen, his success with the Dallas Mavericks, I'm not forgetting about that. He was a killer in Dallas. The difference with Dallas, and he had obviously more opportunities because there was longer playoff series. He got to the NBA Finals. He got to the Western Conference Finals. He was a killer for the Mavs, but he was doing it in the playoffs. This is going to be an interesting postseason because now all of a sudden the Lakers look like a good team. Now all of a sudden the Lakers look like they got multiple guys. Guys are playing their role. They don't look like a one and out, right? Get to the playoffs and you're out in the first round. Now they look like they can win a first round matchup, which again, I still think it's going to be a challenge, whoever they get. But they also look like they can go up against some of these other elite teams, which is going to be one of my topics here in just a second. And this is going to be Luka's stage to be, hey, the keys are now in Luka Doncic's hand, and you're actually having success in the playoffs as well. So there is definitely something in regards to that of what the future could be. But don't forget what he was in Dallas. I mean, he was absolute beast with the Dallas Mavericks, and I think there's no denying that. You don't want to see angry Luka. Just not a smart game plan if you're an opposing team. If you're a fan of an opposing team and you're talking ish. LA are the ones starting fights at the bar now. See, Late, that's a good point. You know, I for a while, I would say, and thank you for the super, I would say this, and especially before that Knicks game, doing a podcast, I had a guest on here. It was somebody that covers the Knicks, went on his show as well. I kind of had this line. I'm like, look, the Lakers are a fight breaks out at the bar. Lakers are going, they're out the back door. They're not trying to get into no bar fight. Lately, the Lakers are saying, no, we're comfortable right here at the bar. And if a couple chairs get thrown, that's fine. We'll order another drink. That was not the Lakers a couple weeks ago. And that narrative is starting to change a little bit. Light, thank you for the super. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. I like this one. Smart is underrated. You're not wrong in that. Guys, I'm telling you, watch Marcus Smart possessions. You would be watching that guy play. It's fun to watch him play. The guy's really is truly amazing to see what he does on a night in, night out basis. Okay, I want to hit on LeBron here for a quick second. Feels like that third option is working. Now, it depends how you want to look at it, because LeBron wasn't the third option yesterday. He also wasn't the third option on Monday. You know, Austin Reeves has 2 straight games where he has struggled against the Houston Rockets. And I think the Rockets wisely went out of their way to say, yeah, we're going to do everything we can to stop Austin Reeves. And if Luka goes for 40, he goes for 40. But we feel if we could take Austin Reeves out of the game, then we win this game. And I think the stats can prove that, because the Lakers are so good when Austin Reeves has these effective games where he's dropping 20 plus a night. Well, Reeves wasn't good on Monday, Lakers won, and Reeves wasn't good yesterday, and Lakers won. So this idea and this concept of LeBron being a third option, conceptually, maybe on paper, it's a good conversation, but the reality is LeBron has not been the third option these last couple of games, and he's not trying to be the second option. I just think naturally he's been playing a role, and because he's playing a role, gets more looks, gets more touches, is smart with how he leaks out, gets a couple of lobs, gets a couple of alley-oops. I mean, LeBron was everywhere. But, you know, this conversation that we've had, I remember a couple of years ago I said this. And here he is, he's 41 now. I think I was saying this when he was 39 years old. Everybody wants to say, well, Father Time is undefeated. Guys, LeBron beat Father Time. I mean, what are we talking about here? There's no conversation. You can't be 41 and still doing what you're doing. Yes, eventually your body's going to break down, but it's not breaking down for him. No one's ever done what he's doing here at age 41. And this isn't are you kissing LeBron's ass? No, it's a 41-year-old that went 13 of 14 from the field, dropped 30 points, has highlight dunks everywhere in last night's game, and he's still doing it like he's 35 years old. And if he was 35, we should still be having the conversation, why are you doing this at age 35? KD had an interesting quote yesterday after the game. He says, I think he could play another 4 to 5 years, to be honest. I don't know how much longer LeBron's going to play. I don't. But I do know this. LeBron in his last 8 games, shooting 62% from the field. He has 8 straight games with 15 or fewer shot attempts, which means he's not shooting high volume. Still obviously getting up. I mean, to have 30 points off 14 field goal attempts, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. And every single game, you're looking at LeBron is about to pass this player, about to pass that player. Every night he's doing something else in the record books, which we've just come to not even appreciate anymore. He's also now 2 games away from playing the most games in NBA history. LeBron's played 1,610 games. Robert Parrish holds the record with 1,611. I love Robert Parrish, who said something on Sirius NBA radio. I don't have to play the clip here, but I'll just tell you exactly what he said. He said, nobody is more deserving than LeBron to break that record. So Robert Parrish one of, obviously just the OGs in the NBA, given his love to LeBron and what he's done in the league. But this whole father time notion, I don't even know why LeBron beat father time. He knocked out father time, and he knocked out father time a couple years ago. And whatever he's doing now is just, it's just gravy. I mean, it's just icing on the cake. I said this yesterday during the post-game show that I really, really hope people just watch LeBron and just try to appreciate what the man is still doing, because it's not going to continue. And there's going to come a time where he's no longer a Los Angeles Laker, and there's going to come a time where he's no longer in the league anymore. And people will look back and they'll probably say to themselves, you know what, I should have probably appreciated LeBron more. I think the way to enjoy him right now, too, is there's probably a lot of Laker fans that do enjoy that Luka's the one that's got the ball. Luka's the one cooking. AR is obviously, from a usage perspective, he's getting the ball a ton as well. LeBron's not even asking for the ball. They're not running plays for LeBron, and he's still as effective as he is. So LeBron does deserve his flowers, and certainly making it happen as well. All right, got a lot of comments here that we can get to as well. Before I do, I'm going to continue to give love to some of our partners here. Here's another business I'm going to give some love to. Harrah Resort SoCal, a great partnership on this channel. Some people here that are continuing to support the channel. Again, I want you guys to know, one of the things that I try to do is I try to develop relationships with a lot of the people that I work with in regards to partnerships. I've known Harrah. I've known that contact now for about 10 years. They are a partner here. If you're looking for a staycation, I want to really highly encourage everybody, just go to the website, at least go take a look at what Harrah Resort has to offer. Eric's going to pop up this URL that we have here, and I want to give everyone just a quick idea. If you're interested in staying at Harrah Resort SoCal, you have to use our link in the description. This is the link. It takes you straight to booking, and you get 20% off when you use our link. Now, there are some restrictions that apply, but I will tell you, if you want a staycation, this is the place to go. It's one of the best resorts in Southern California. It's located in such a great place in SoCal, which is North San Diego, up by the Palomar Mountains, 1 to 2 hours away from anywhere you are in SoCal. So it's easy to get to, right off the 15 freeway. And then you kind of start driving inland. Really beautiful drive, like I mentioned, in the Palomar Mountains. If you're looking for a great restaurants, you got Hell's Kitchen. You got Rita's Cantina that overlooks the pool. If you're looking for a great family environment, where to take the kids, you got the Lazy River. For the adults, you got the Swim Up Bar. But it's a great place to kind of enjoy, I'm sure, burn off a lot of energy that the kids have. It's just a beautiful, beautiful resort, and I think you would really enjoy it. Use that 20% off. Link is in the description. Shout out to Harrah Resort SoCal, and shout out to everybody supporting our partners. HarrahSoCal.com is the website, but the specific link in the description will get you, obviously, to the website that I'm referring to get the 20% off. All right, let's look at some comments here. I was kind of rolling right there. I felt like Luka looking like prime Echo Park Sliwa. Listen, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I mean, 63% free throw shooter, career average. Probably not the greatest stat to throw out there, but those are my stats. 3 points, 4 turnovers. Father time -1. Lakers are a 3-headed monster. Now, if you cut one off the other, 2 will get you. And listen, I think that's encouraging, if I'm being honest with you. It's encouraging that Austin Reeves was bad for 2 straight games, and the Lakers won both of those games. Think about that for a second. If I'd have told you coming in, hey, the Lakers are going to play the Rockets, Austin Reeves is going to suck for 2 straight games, what do you think? Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, they probably went 0-2. They got to have him play well. Nope, they had other players step up. Luka, obviously, brilliant performances, and then you got LeBron doing what he was doing. This version of LeBron, humble, team-friendly, would have won more championships. Well, I mean, listen, let me ask you this question. Did Anthony Davis ever grab the keys and say, this is my team, LeBron, take a back seat? Did AD ever do that? He didn't. AD was one of those guys that's like, hey, I can drive, but I also like sitting in the passenger seat. Luka comes to the Lakers like, give me the keys, all right? Sometimes I'm going to let you sit in the passenger seat. Other times I'm going to ask you to sit behind me. You got to sit in the back seat. It's a big difference between Luka and AD. Guys, there's levels to this. And AD is a champion, one of the best two-way players in the league when he's healthy. Just Luka's a killer. And there aren't too many players like Luka Doncic. So whatever you want to say, this version of LeBron's also got to feel confident that he can take a back seat. And obviously with Luka, he can. He clearly can. Role player Bron got a spot in this roster. By the way, maybe it's going to become a little bit more interesting of a conversation in regards to LeBron moving forward based off of how this season ends up. And I didn't hear many people saying that they want to see LeBron after this season. Maybe that becomes a conversation. I mean, you guys have heard my opinion on this. I've always said, I hope this is the last year for LeBron as a Laker. Nothing personal against LeBron, but I do think the Lakers obviously got to rebuild and this and that. What if they end out the season really strong and LeBron looks really good in this role and LeBron's like, hey, I'll take a discount to stay with the Lakers? Maybe that changes the narrative. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I still think we got to see a lot more basketball, see how the season ends up, see how LeBron continues to fit in this role, see how far the Lakers get in the postseason. I think there's so much more runway and so many more things that can happen before we get to that conversation. So I'm not too worried about that, but he has been playing really, really good. So give LeBron a lot of credit for changing his role. Give JJ credit for kind of saying, hey, this is the role that we need you to play. And the Lakers are obviously making that happen. Okay, I got a couple clips here that I want to play as well to talk a little bit about the Lakers. And we know that I think this is going to be a good conversation, but two clips specifically that I want to play. One that's James Worthy from the post-game show yesterday on Spectrum. Another one, Chris Broussard on First Things First on Fox Sports, that's talking about the Lakers and kind of a really interesting scenario, to be honest with you. I was talking about this yesterday in the post-game show, but he mentioned a couple things as well. So here's where the Lakers are sitting. Eric, you can cue up that James Worthy stuff, and I'll kind of break this down here. But here's where the Lakers are sitting. They now have they're 19 games over 500, so they're third place in the Western Conference. This is what this last 2 weeks has done for the Lakers. Beat Minnesota. They already had the tiebreaker there, but obviously gained another game on them by beating them, just that head-to-head matchup. They gained 2 games on Denver because not only did they beat Denver, but they won the tiebreaker. They gained 3 games on the Houston Rockets because they beat them twice and got the tiebreaker. They gained 3 games on the Houston Rockets, all in a very, very quick span. So the Lakers right now sitting at 44-25. They have a 2-game lead on Minnesota plus the tiebreaker, so call it 3 games. 2-game lead on the Houston Rockets plus the tiebreaker, call it 3 games. 3-game lead on the Denver Nuggets plus the tiebreaker, call it a 4-game advantage on the Denver Nuggets. So the Lakers have really, really put themselves in an unbelievable position. And at this stage, I'd be very surprised if they're not representing the number 3 spot in the Western Conference. It's kind of similar to last year, right? We'll probably end the season over 50 games. We'll have home court in the first round, and then probably in a dogfight in the first round. And if the playoffs started today, of course, they would play Denver in the first round, and the Lakers would, which, by the way, I mean, if you beat the Denver Nuggets, maybe that's a blessing in disguise to kind of get Denver and you can gain some momentum and gain some confidence and go from there. But I've told you guys that I think Denver would be very dangerous. Listen to James Worthy here, post-game, talking about the Lakers and specifically the type of basketball that they're playing. And then I'm going to play this clip from Chris Broussard, because should we start talking about the Lakers being a headache, not to just Denver, Houston, and Minnesota? Should we start talking about the Lakers being a headache potentially to San Antonio and the Oklahoma City Thunder? Take a listen to James Worthy.
There used to be a time in this studio where I might say, okay, they won the first game against Houston, back-to-back game. That might be one that we might give up. But I don't know if we've seen this team play the way they've been playing. They're playing championship caliber basketball right now. And I don't think we've seen that in quite some years. It's been a long time since we've seen this type of basketball with the defense emphasis on that part of the game. And these guys are willing to play for one another. The chemistry is really good. They're moving up in the standings. I don't think I've seen this in quite some time. So to have this type of impact in the standings and have a collective effort led by today, I mean, Luka did his thing, but LeBron, man, it was amazing what he was able to do today and lead the.
All right, the quote that I think was the most important. By the way, is there we got a DJ in the background? Geeter DJing for Spectrum? What's going on back there? A full DJ. Get some strobe lights going on there at Spectrum. Look at Spectrum making it happen. Worthy saying they're playing championship caliber basketball. Guys, when is the last time? I said this a little bit earlier in the show. I haven't seen the Lakers play like this. It's been a couple of years. And for James Worthy to say they're playing championship caliber, one thing that I love about Worthy and Ori and a couple of these guys, these former Lakers, Derek Fisher when he's on there, they're very critical about the Lakers. And I'm appreciative of that because nobody wants to hear any BS. Just tell it how it is. And when the Lakers aren't playing well, you hear it from some of these former greats that know what championship caliber basketball is. And I think listening to what Worthy was just saying right there, it's very unique. But if you're going to start saying that's championship caliber basketball, well, what are you saying? What are you saying? Are you saying that the Lakers can go up against the San Antonio Spurs? Can they go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder? I don't know yet, but let me tell you that conversation's a lot different than it was a couple of weeks ago. If the San Antonio got the Lakers, it got the Spurs, if the Spurs and the Lakers went up against each other in the second round, is San Antonio thinking that's a walk in the park, or is San Antonio's like, you know what, we might have to be at our best in order to take down the Lakers? I've said this a couple different times. Here's the one hole with San Antonio. And again, maybe this is premature. Maybe we should not be talking about the Lakers going up against the Spurs or going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But they've kind of forced you to have that conversation because they have won 9 of 10, because they're beating all these different playoff teams, because they are third in the Western Conference, because Luka is playing MVP caliber basketball, because all these guys are kind of starting to fit a certain role. Maybe that's a fair conversation to have. And to hear James Worthy say this is championship caliber basketball, well, he's not talking about, going out in the first round. If you say championship caliber basketball, then really what you're trying to say is who is the elite in the Western Conference? Well, I think the Lakers can hang with some of those elite teams. Here's the one thing I will say, that if the playoffs started today and the Lakers had Denver in the first round and got through Denver, and you got San Antonio in the second round, and everybody's just expecting that it's the Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, here's the one hole in San Antonio. The hole in San Antonio is Wemby's never played in the playoffs. A lot of their young guns who are wildly talented, who are phenomenal basketball players, they've never played in a playoff game. How are they going to react to a playoff game? You know who's played in plenty of playoff games? LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Marcus Smart. There's a lot of players. DeAndre Ayton was the starting center for the Phoenix Suns when they got to the NBA Finals. I'm getting ahead of myself. I know that. But I think it's a fair conversation to have. I want you guys to take a listen to Chris Broussard, who was talking specifically about this. If we fast forward and a month and a half from now, it is the Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs. You know what I'd have told you even a week ago? I would have said, yeah, they got no shot against the San Antonio Spurs. Can we say that right now? They're playing as good as basketball as anybody in the league. Can we say today that they would have no shot against the San Antonio Spurs? That Luka and LeBron would have no shot? Maybe they wouldn't. I mean, maybe they would be out in 5 games. But I think we should be having the conversation. Take a listen to Chris Broussard talking about a potential matchup between the Lakers and the Spurs.
Okay. Again, I don't think they can win the West. But what's interesting, and you know how much I like San Antonio. I mean, they have no playoff experience among their young core. And so you wonder, it would be interesting in a series with the Lakers against the
In a
Spurs.
2-3 matchup,
just-
which is what
yeah.
we would get right now in round 2. It would be
It'd be interesting because of the complete experience gap. And so that would be interesting. But they're playing well.
Kind of a fair argument there. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say anything more. All I'm trying to say is it's interesting. They have made this conversation interesting. That's all. That's the one thing that I will say more than anything else. That if the Lakers in the past, it was not worth the conversation, I think now it's obviously worth the conversation. I mean, if the playoffs started today, you do not have a more difficult path than the Lakers would have. Period. Maybe the only tougher path would be Denver, because Denver wouldn't have home court in the first round. But if the playoffs started today, you got to go through Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and the Denver Nuggets. Waiting for you would be Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and the San Antonio Spurs. Waiting for you would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, the NBA champs. And then waiting for you in the NBA Finals would be Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Boston Celtics. You cannot find a more difficult path. So, again, I'm not trying to claim here that the Lakers are going to get to the finals, but what I'm telling you is there are conversations you could have today that you could not have 2 weeks ago. There are conversations you could have today that 2 weeks ago, if we would have had, people would have said, Alan, I appreciate, your optimism, but I'm going to go ahead and unsubscribe to the channel because you're talking BS. This isn't BS. I think it's an interesting conversation, and we'll see what eventually happens. All right, a lot of comments coming in here. Let's see what we got here. All right, we got people making a case for Michael Jordan, I believe, as the greatest player of all time. Not sure how that one just came in, but we'll go from there. I see Spurs choking. It's funny. I don't know if this is Spurs choking. If I'm being completely honest with you, there's a natural progression for most franchises in sports. It's like you make the playoffs because you hadn't made the playoffs, you're out, and there's an accomplishment there. You get to the second round, and there's an accomplishment there. You know who's a good example of this? I think Luka with Dallas was on this progression that if they allowed, obviously, the Mavericks to continue building what they were building, they were progressing. It was like Luka makes the playoffs, makes some noise in the playoffs. They get to the Western Conference Finals. The following year, they get to the NBA Finals. They were making progress. The Boston Celtics, how many years were they knocking on the door until they finally get there? They lose in the NBA Finals, and then they crack through the door. They win an NBA championship. For the Spurs, I don't think it's about choking. I think it's about the whole for the San Antonio Spurs is you just have never been in the playoffs before. De'Aaron Fox has, Harrison Barnes has, but, really at the end of the day, you got a lot of guys that are unproven postseason-wise. Wemby's time is later. I thought Wemby's time was later as well, but the San Antonio Spurs are telling you that that's not the case. And they've played really well against the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, let's see what else we have here. LeBron can lead these Lakers past the Spurs, but I'm not sure about OKC because of the lack of defense from Luka and Reeves. All right, let's get another one in here. Thank you for the super. Appreciate you. A 10 spot. Very generous of you. Thank you very much. I watched the third quarter. Bron literally took the quarter off to let AR get going. Bron hadn't missed a shot and was cooking, but respected the team is better when AR gets going. That's leadership. Yeah, there's something to what Bron is doing. Guys, he had 14 shot attempts and had 30 points. I'm going to look up a LeBron stat here real quick because I want to see it for myself as well. I think sometimes I'm just curious to see these individual games, what LeBron has been doing over this last 5 games or so. I'm going to see what LeBron's doing. I'm more from a shooting perspective and how many shots he's taken. Dude, these stats show how many shots he's taken. All right, these won't show how many shots he's taken, but look how absurd this is from LeBron. All right, let me show you how absurd this is. Shot 63% from the field, 53% from the field, 53% from the field, 53% from the field, 93% from the field. His efficiency is absurd. Absurd. He's not taking a lot of shots either. So, yeah, there's something about this in that third quarter where, by the way, the Lakers got dominated in that third quarter against Houston. They got outscored, clearly outscored. I mean, that was the worst quarter that they had. But obviously, fourth quarter Lakers turn things around. Denver is no longer our daddy. I disagree with that. I disagree until you do it in the playoffs. But clearly trending in the right direction. But what they do in the regular season does not matter. What matters is what do you do in the postseason. But mentally for Denver, too, I think it is a little bit different of a story than it was in the past. Thank you again for the super. Greatly appreciate that. All right, Lakers do have a game tonight. So as I sit here and I keep yapping about what the Lakers did yesterday, they got an early tip-off, 5 p.m. tip-off against the Miami Heat. So real quick here, let me give everyone just a quick idea what we got going on for the game tonight. Lakers are playing the Miami Heat, tip-off at 5 o'clock. Second of a back-to-back for the Lakers. Lakers landed in Miami around 4 a.m., so the good thing is they didn't get a chance to go out when they're in Miami. Heat are on a 2-game losing streak with losses to the Magic and a 30-point loss to the Hornets. Before that, they had won 7 games in a row. Bam did not play against the Hornets. Obviously, we know Bam was a huge conversation when he dropped 83. A couple of stats here on the Miami Heat. What to expect tonight. Heat has the 13th best offense, averaging 120 points per game, and 4th best defensive rating in the NBA. So something to keep in mind there. Andrew Wiggins is out. Jaime Jaquez is listed as questionable. Yeah, be interesting to watch. Norman Powell, Tyler Hero. Of course, you got Bam Adebayo. So they got some players there. They'll be ready to go against the Lakers. Lakers obviously trying to make it 8 games in a row. So Lakers and the Heat tonight. Tip off at 5, which means post-game between 7:30 and 8, just depending on how long the game is. But we will do post-game right after the game. A couple stories around the NBA. The big story around the league. This one sucks. This one's awful. Hate this one. This one is, not a good one for the NBA, especially for a team that's been balling, that's been making it happen, that's been really, really fun to watch. Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung and is expected to miss an extended period of time, sources tell ESPN. I mean, I don't know if the Pistons can hold on to that number 1 seed. Let me see where they are. I'm going to look at this. By the way, could I tell everybody here? I forgot about March Madness. Completely forgot about March Madness. First off, my school isn't in it, SDSU. All right, so this is where the Pistons are, 3.5 in front of the Boston Celtics. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it, but that really sucks. I feel bad for Cade Cunningham, feel bad for the Pistons. Pistons obviously having an incredible season. I mean, just a really, really good season. And Cade Cunningham is going to miss some time. Lakers, by the way, have the Pistons coming up on Monday. So something to keep in mind here. Memphis yesterday beat the Denver Nuggets. How about that? Denver falling apart? Lakers have a 4-game lead now on the Denver Nuggets. Thunder beat the Nets yesterday at halftime. They were up, I think it was 60-something to 24. The Nets had 24 points at the half. I'm going to go ahead and go out of probably not a good half for the Brooklyn Nets. Is that safe to say? All right, last thing I want to get into, and last NBA story I'm going to get into, and then we're going to call it a day. Bucks want to shut down Giannis for the remainder of the season after his latest knee hyperextension injury because of their dwindling playoff chances, but he refused the team's request and wants to play again. Multiple meetings have taken place over the last 24 hours with a disagreement ensured on whether it was best for him to return. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't know. I got no more interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo until the summer. Summer comes, he's got a chance to be a Laker. It's a better conversation. Until then, I don't know what to tell you. This doesn't feel like there's much to talk about with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's get a comment here. By the way, John is reaching out to us on X. If you watch on Twitter, comment. I'll read your comments. Don't worry. Major trap game tonight. Heat figuring to get out of the play-in. Lakers better bring the laser-focused squad to South Beach. No time to take the foot off the gas. Tough one tonight. Really, really tough one. Second of a back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if Lakers took an L tonight. You know, and again, they're playing such good basketball. We got to give them all the credit in the world. I don't know who's going to play. Is LeBron playing tonight? Is he not playing tonight? They get in at 4 a.m. Miami didn't play yesterday. Miami's got talent. It's going to be a tough one. I mean, hell, I didn't expect the Lakers to win yesterday, so I guess at this point, I shouldn't be shocked about every win that the Lakers stack up. All right, everybody. That's all we got for today. Thank you very much. Back on tonight after the Lakers take on the Miami Heat. Do I got to remind everybody to subscribe to the damn channel? All right, shout out to everybody. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you to all the supers. Thank you to Eric for breaking down some of Luka's defense a little bit earlier. And shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, Harrah Resort, SoCal for being partners. Hope you guys have a great rest of your morning and your afternoon. I'll see you guys tonight. Lakers and the Heat tip off at 5, post-game show right after. Thank you, everybody.